First of all, welcome to Faranduleo 411. Thank you so much. I know you have a full agenda of media, so I'm excited to be able to get a few minutes of your time to kind of talk to you a little bit about your career. First of all, I want to start off saying I love the way you spell your name, Jessenia.
Gotta thank my mom for that. She made it difficult for me.
Pero me encanta. Tell me a little bit more. First of all, congrats. Your EP just dropped today. 4 tracks. Previously, there was another track titled Phoenix as well that had dropped. Tell me a little bit about how do you feel about this EP finally dropping? I know it was a while in the making.
Oh my God, I describe it as pregnancy. I've never had a baby, but there's so much anticipation, excitement, unknowing, fear, pride, like a lot of emotions. And I started working on the project back in December, and a friend of mom, I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't even have a kid. Forget getting married. I don't even have a kid. And they were like, well, if you think about this, like, it's almost like a baby. It's like 9 months you've been carrying this project and working on this. And, it was conceived in December and now it's coming out in September. And it came out today, the day before my birthday. So it's just like, there's lots of like emotions and symbolism. And I'm happy that the world has finally met my child.
Well, first of all, happy early birthday. Um, it's awesome that the EP was able to come out, right before your birthday. And in a sense, it really is like a childbirth, also, carrying, from conception to, working the album or the EP to, like when it's about to come out and the whole process and everything. So it really is, like having a child. I don't have children either, so I'm with you on that. But no, totally. It does sound, like it would be, it's similar process.
A little bit challenging too, because like I started doing it with the dad. The dad and I created this EP, but now we're separated. So like I'm a single mom. So that's where the challenge came in.
So it kind of really is sometimes like like a child. No, that's actually a little tidbit to note of the album. But no, I was saying that I got a chance to listen to not only the single Phoenix but also all of the 4 songs. I was actually just listening to it now prior to us jumping on the interview, and I feel and I could sense that a lot of heart and soul went into it. Tell me about that process. What do these songs mean to you? Tell me all about these songs, because I really, first of all, I loved all of them. I love your voice as well. You have a beautiful voice, and I could feel, the emotions transmitting from the song. So tell me about that process and tell me about these songs.
You know what? I only like one of the 4. I don't like all of them. You like all of them? Thank you so much. There was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of feeling. For me, when I thought about this EP, I wanted it to be something that I could just leave the past and that pain behind me. Because, one of the things that failed relationship does, sometimes it lingers and sometimes people don't know how to cut that off. And for me, I always would beat myself up like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What could I have done different? Sometimes people point the finger, to other people. For me, I'd just be pointing it to myself. So I would linger onto these feelings, and I would be, I wasn't healed. I was completely guarded. And what I declared and I affirmed, I said, you know what, this is no longer going to be a piece of me. This EP, I'm going to put it out in the universe. I'm going to let go of all that pain. I'm going to take everything I've learned and I'm going to live for today. And I'm going to cultivate a better future because, ¿y qué? Y aquí no estoy yo, type of thing. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want to love, and I know how to love, and I am loved. So, it was so therapeutic. It starts chronologically in order from my first relationship. And it was young. It was a young love. De que esa, de la vida de amor. Nada, éramos babies. We were seven. I was 17. He was 19. There was so much love, but we didn't know. There was jealousy. There was insecurity. Lots of game playing. Lots of hurt. And it's very, very rare than often where women, and I'm one of those women, take accountability of the roles that they play and apologize. Mm-hmm. And 6 years of that madness on and off. And I said, you know what? I haven't spoken to him in a while, in like the last 10 years, for him to understand that I am sorry for the role I played, my shortcomings, and that I also forgive you, because I'm pretty damn sure that you're sorry too. So that's where sorry came from. It was like, you know what? I'm sorry, I forgive you, and I know that you forgive me. Después, porque tú sabes como las mamás latinas, ya estás vieja. At 23, I was old. Nadie te quiere, nadie te va a querer, perdiste todos esos años, ahora, avanza.
Yeah.
And I jumped into a relationship because I was pressured because of my age. At 23, I was old, and it was a bad relationship. It was a relationship that I knew that there were red flags, but because he was saying the right things, I want kids, I want marriage, I want to, provide and care. And it's like, wow, this would be music to my mother's ears, is what I was channeling. So I moved in with him. We were dating. Everything moved so fast. And it turned out to be that he was abusive. He was abusive before me. And he has his demons. That was long ago for me too. That was about 8 years ago. And so at 23, or no, let's do the math. Oh my gosh. Cause a long time ago, cause I'm turning 36 tomorrow. So I'm bad with time frames. But yes, I was 23. I jumped in. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. But I was so ashamed to be like, there's something off. I'm like, no. So I would make excuses. Oh, it's just he's tired. Oh no, he was just grumpy because he hasn't eaten today. Like all these things. And I remember the first time my mother saw a bruise on my arm. I had been working at the psychiatric ER, and it's no surprise that there it can be very hectic and dangerous. So I told my mom that a patient accidentally, came at me, and I was covering all this up, and I was making excuses and rationalizing things that weren't rational, but because I did not want to let my money, give me a family, give me this, give me that. And that, I feel like, I see more and more culturally, especially in our Latin community, where parents are now just like, just be happy. Just be happy, be safe. Because that's where my parents are right now. She goes, you know what? I don't even want to see you get married. A baby, I do. A baby. She goes, not de fur baby. You'll get on baby. Go do something. I'm like, Mom. But I'm like, Ma, can't just pop out baby. Hard, Mom. That was excuses. So it teaches us to really take responsibility of our well-being, and to really, really reflect and not depend on someone else to make us happy, or complete, because it could be very dangerous. And in this aspect, it was, the reason why that relationship ended was because he was choking me while we were driving home, and the police that were doing night watch saw everything. Y si eso no sucedió.
Yeah.
Covered up so good. They were like, no, they took me and they did not let me go. So they literally held me down. They were like, you are never moving. That was the first time I didn't live with them, and after that, they're like, no, you're not living alone. Wow. And it took a long time before I actually could live by myself, but they were refusing. They were like, until you get married, no, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So that was excuses.
I really love that there's an actual story behind all of these songs, and there's an actual story behind the EP. I feel like it was a personal journey for you, and I feel like, de cierta manera, el EP is like a healing process for you. I feel like it was a healing process. You put that out, and now it's like you're closing that, and now you're ready to start new. Is that kind of the message that you're sending with this?
Oh my God, that's exactly it. And that's why with the third track, Not Today, and the fourth one, it becomes more empowering, because you're learning these lessons, and what the journey of self-love is. Falling in love with yourself can be easy, but we fall out of love a lot of the time. Just like any relationship, it takes constant work, and we forget about that. And that's why Phoenix, Not Today was about getting cheated on. I got cheated on by an ex of mine. It wasn't sexual. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish it was, because, falling in love with someone emotionally hurts a lot more than a man, because it's like, totally. I'm working, I'm busting my ass, I'm working, I'm paying my own bill. You're gonna vent to a woman at work, and she's gonna take advantage of it, knowing that I exist, and you're gonna tell me I think I'm in love with.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Por ahí está la puerta. Vete, yeah, go,
Yeah,
bye.
totally.
I got time. I got zero time for it. Not today.
Yep.
That's why I call it not today.
I love it. I love it. And I really feel like it's an EP that a lot of women can identify with because of the stories that you told, whether it was an abusive relationship, whether it's, asking for forgiveness, realizing what you did wrong in a relationship and acting up as an adult, as a responsible adult, and being like, hey, yo fallé también, tú fallaste, let's say sorry to each other and move on. And I think that that's part of the healing process. And I think that a lot of women don't realize these relationships that they go through, and sometimes they jump from one to another and they don't close, de cierta manera cierran por completo la relación anterior, and then that's where it starts to build up. So I do love, and I feel that you did an amazing job at conveying that message, because without even knowing you, without even knowing your story, without even knowing the story behind these songs, I was able to perceive it from listening to this EP. So you absolutely did an amazing job in that. Again, I said I loved all of the songs. I love your voice as well. So congrats that the EP came out today. I can't wait for more women, especially women, to hear it and kind of maybe identify or maybe take a little bit out from that and maybe be a little bit more like you in that sense and start a healing process. So I'm happy for that, but I also want to talk about your career, because it's been years in the making. I know that you went from being a DJ and a host from Mundos and MTV to later winning a competition of a lookalike of Kim Kardashian on the Tyra Banks show, and now music. You've been everywhere, and I want you to tell me a little bit more about that. I want you to tell me how you got your start. ¿Cómo fue tu carrera? ¿Cómo fue cambiando hasta terminar ahora en cantante? Tell me a little bit more about that so your fans can get to know you a little bit more.
Me vinieron aquí desde Ecuador y yo nací aquí. I was born in Jersey, and my parents were typical Hispanic parents. You're going to be a business owner or a doctor or in legal, like a lawyer. And I've always loved to help people, which is why this EP is helpful, not just for me, but it's helpful knowing that I can help other people, because that's like my life goal, is to be able to give back and help. So I was at the time my third year nursing when I was a freshman in college. She was a senior. By the time I was a junior, she was already in the world, and she worked for Tyra Banks. She worked for the show. She was one of the executive assistant producers. So she invited me. She sent me a driver. Don't worry about hair. Don't worry about makeup. Don't worry about outfit. This is Tyra's show. We have everything. We provide everything. I'm like, okay, como una boba. Okay, sure. So they're doing my makeup, and I'm like, this is really smoky. Like, this is how I wear my makeup. I'm very natural. So now I'm like, I got one big, what are they doing? My hair. Me dieron una faja, and I'm like, yo, like at the time I was like a size, 2. So I'm like, a faja, and I couldn't even squeeze into it. I was like, how do you put this on? I'm like, damn, Tyra, like. And next thing you know, I'm wearing this really tight red dress with the faja, trying to breathe, not pass out. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, como una, inocente. I'm like, damn. I wonder, like, what all the audience members are going to wear. No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're going to be live. And I'm like, what? And you could see that I was in deer headlights. Pero, gracias a Dios, my parents didn't raise no fool. When they were like, so why do you think you look like him? I'm like, I don't think I look like him. But I was like, let me sound smart. And I said what I said, and Kim and Tyra, like, they fell in love with me, and they both picked me, and like, oh, thank you, God, because if I would have, like, this would have been so embarrassing, if DK, I think I look like him. I don't think I look like him. Kim doesn't look like Kim. I mean, she's gorgeous, pero ella no se parece como ella misma. So what the hell, like, what year, Kim? Like 2004, maybe? Exactly. I don't know. Like, exactly. But I won, and that opened up opportunities. And at the time, there was an economical crash. There's opportunities. There's these paying gigs. It opened up stuff with Silent Library with MTV. I've done stuff with Spike TV, Telemundo, with Mundos, which is part of Telemundo. And it was really cool because I grew up a tomboy that was obese with glasses. These are actually prescription, and braces. And I was always very reserved and quiet, like in school in front of my teachers. But when we were outside, recess, I cracked jokes. I would, dance. Kids can be, mean sometimes because of weight differences and stuff. But I always had this personality. So like, the world might see this, right? Like this person here who, but they don't know the struggle. They don't know what I went through to be where I'm at, mentally, physically, and spiritually. But what people did like was like, whoa, she has a personality and she can read words that move from a teleprompter. And so they put me in my role, and that's why like my career started blooming. So it went from doing TV hosting to music videos for some of the biggest major artists at the time, and still at this time they're big artists. And like Jay Alvarez, Alexi and Fido, 50 Cent, Trey Songz, Fat Joe, like these are big iconic names, in the Latin urban community. So eventually I was like, I want to do music. I've always wanted to do music. Who didn't grow up watching Selena in person that looked like me, back in that day? Like there was no other representation of us in the youth and our, and when she was gone, it was so tragic, but to see her story come to life with Jennifer Lopez and to see a woman of color killing it, I was like, you know what? I want to do it. And I spoke it into existence. And, it's taken time to be where I'm at, because the first song that I created was in 2013, but then I became a victim of domestic violence.
Okay.
A small role in a major movie, but he turned it down for me. So I was already getting into acting. And once we broke up, he hacked into my accounts. He deleted all my accounts. I had millions at my reach, millions and millions and millions at my reach. And he deleted it. It was more like, if I can't have you, then all right.
No one will, yeah.
No one will. Y eso me dolió. Y, for other people who fall, sometimes they stay down, but I had to bounce back really fast. Has always been something about myself that I can say about myself is resilience. I've always been resilient. So, I've been through bullying. I've been through teasing. I had a girl put gum in my hair that I had to chop off, so I've been through pains. And this was something that was very painful, but I knew that with time and healing and love, and I was getting love from my mother and my father, that I could bounce back. And, the game has changed. I'm sure you know it. Everything's now about how many followers you have. And, it's beautiful now to be able to have that balance. It's like, okay, I have all of this catalog and I have all these reels, and I also have the following, but it's been a lot of work, and it's political. So it's not giving up. And that's the one advice that I give people that are trying to get into anything, whether it's acting, blogging, all the oggings,
Ogging sky.
And keep developing your craft. That's all that's the advice that whoever wants to know.
I love it. And I really do like, the vibe that you put out, how awesome and how, down to earth you are. I really love the way that, you're coming about the situation with women and how you're trying to empower them and how you're trying to, make sure that they can see, you know what I mean? And I love that, because you were a victim of bullying when you were younger, that and you can see, and you don't let this world fool you. You know what I mean? Like this world of how you're supposed to look and all of that, and you're beautiful. And I believe all women are, but I think a lot of them get caught up in that. You know what I mean? That whole thing of how society is telling you to make you look. And I think that once you start loving yourself, it starts, changing, and you start supporting other women and all that kind of stuff. So I love the message that you're bringing to the platform.
Thank you. I don't know if you heard that, but it takes a beautiful woman to be able to acknowledge another beautiful woman. And that's what makes female empowerment so beautiful, because it's about sisterhood. We all share the same struggles, because if you're a female, then you understand what it's like to be a female still in this industry and in this world, and then even more so a woman of color. So, it's about uniting, you know, the numbers and the voices and seen and being heard us that I wasn't on Instagram. That didn't exist then, you know?
Exactly.
But it was about bond, and they taught us, and I missed that so much, and I've always yearned it. So to have a platform, you know, people get catty, like they're like, you can't be a Cardi B fan and a Nicki Minaj fan. You got to pick one. Y quién
¿Quién te dijo eso?
And what Bible? And what Bible, please? Because you know, I want to know, because
Why
I
do I
want to
have
know,
to
because
choose? Exactly.
it's ridiculous.
It is. It is. No, I totally love the way.
I like them both.
In fact, I love talking with you. It's been a great chat. I've loved having you here. You're one of the best. Honestly, one of the best interviews that I've had, just because of the person that you are. And that's another thing that I love about you, that you do speak proper Spanish. You speak great Spanish, and I love how you mix the Spanish and the English like me. So I loved chatting with you, Jessenia. Fue un placer, primero que nada, conocerte, and then escuchar tu música. Muchas felicidades. Te deseo lo mejor de lo mejor, y que sigan sumándose los éxitos, and you have a new friend here.
Gracias, igualmente, and thank you. Let's build a sisterhood.
Yes, I agree. Let's do it. All right, bueno, un placer, mucho éxito con Phoenix, and thank you for sharing a little bit of your time with me.
Thank you.
Bye, gracias.